let's be honest, sometimes the strongest memories come from the snacks we grew up with. Those treats and nibbles from the 70s that vanished from the shelves, but still live on in our minds as if we had them just yesterday. Today, we're stepping back in time to relive those little legends of flavor. Don't forget to subscribe and drop a comment telling us which of these snacks you remember most. Wagon Wheels were the kind of snack that always felt bigger than life, literally. Oversized, chocolate-covered biscuits with marshmallow and jam inside, they were a playground classic. Kids argued endlessly over whether they'd shrunk in size over the years. But one thing was certain. Opening your lunchbox and finding a wagon wheel felt like a small victory. Sticky marshmallow clung to your fingers, the chocolate cracked as you bit in, and that chewy texture kept you coming back for more. Some people dunked them in tea, others tried to eat them in one go just to prove they could. However you tackled them, wagon wheels weren't just a snack. They were a ritual, a part of growing up that no supermarket multi-pack has ever truly replaced. Before flavored crisps ruled the shelves, KP Salt and Shake gave kids something different: control. Each packet came with plain potato crisps and a tiny blue sachet of salt hidden inside. The fun was tearing open the bag, sprinkling in the salt, giving it a good shake, and hoping the seasoning spread evenly. Sometimes you ended up with one crisp so salty it made your eyes water, and another with barely a grain. That unpredictability was part of the magic. It turned a simple snack into a little game, something you could show off in the schoolyard. Some kids even collected the empty sachets, while others tried adding more than one for an extra kick. Salt and Shake may look basic by today's standards, but in its day, it was an interactive treat that made crisps feel personal and unforgettable. Fry's 5 Center was the chocolate bar that felt like 5 treats in one. Wrapped in glossy foil, it looked like an ordinary bar from the outside, but biting into it revealed different fruit-flavored fondant fillings running through each segment. Strawberry, orange, raspberry, lime, and pineapple. Every piece was a surprise, and every bite carried a burst of color and sweetness. Kids loved swapping their least favorite flavor with friends, while others guarded their bars fiercely, not wanting to give up a single square. It wasn't just chocolate, it was an experience, a mini adventure in every wrapper. Today's confectionery aisles are packed with choices, but none of them have managed to capture the playful variety of Fry's 5 Center. For many, just the memory of peeling back the wrapper is enough to bring back the taste of childhood. Tudor Crisps were a regional legend that earned a loyal following, especially in the Northeast. Their adverts promised the flavor that makes your mouth water, and for many families, that slogan wasn't just marketing, it was true. Tudor offered flavors you didn't always see elsewhere, with strong seasoning and a crunch that felt louder than the rest. For kids, a bag of Tudors from the corner shop was often the highlight of a school lunch, while adults grabbed them at the pub to go with a pint. Part of the charm was how they felt slightly different, almost local, almost secret, compared to the big national brands. Some still swear they were the best crisps Britain ever produced. They disappeared from shelves in the 80s, but the memory of that bold flavor and that crinkly packet still lingers like a ghost of snacking past. Golden Cup Caramel was one of those bars that felt indulgent, even though it was small. At first glance, it looked like a simple slab of milk chocolate, but inside was a thick layer of soft, gooey caramel that stuck to your teeth in the best possible way. Unlike bigger brands, Golden Cup had a homemade quality, the kind of sweet you might discover at a corner shop rather than in a glossy supermarket aisle. Kids loved the sticky mess, adults loved the simple satisfaction, and both agreed it was worth every penny. You could eat it slowly, letting the caramel melt, or go all in with big bites that left strings of golden sweetness clinging to your lips. Sadly, it vanished from shelves, leaving behind only fond memories of that rich center wrapped in chocolate. For many, Golden Cup wasn't just a snack. It was comfort, a little burst of joy in the middle of an ordinary day. Spangles were the boiled sweets that managed to be both simple and unforgettable. Packed in square little wrappers with bright, colorful designs, they came in a wide range of flavors, from classic fruit to odd experiments like Old English mix. The sweets were hard, long-lasting, and perfect for slipping into your pocket on a school trip or a long car ride. Everyone had a favorite flavor, and arguments broke out over which ones were the best. Some kids even tried to see how long they could keep a spangle in their mouth without biting down, a challenge most failed. They were cheap, cheerful, and available almost everywhere, which made them feel like part of daily life. When they disappeared in the 1980s, it left a gap no modern sweet has really filled. For many, the memory of unwrapping that shiny foil and tasting that first burst of fruitiness is pure nostalgia. Smith's crispy tubes were one of those snacks that didn't look like much, but once you tried them, you never forgot them. Hollow, crunchy potato snacks shaped like little tubes, they had a texture that was light yet strangely filling. The real fun came from the way kids ate them, sliding them onto their fingers like edible rings before crunching them off one by one. They were salty, satisfying, and came in small bags that always seemed to vanish too quickly. Unlike crisps, crispy tubes had a bite that felt unique, a sound and crunch you couldn't mistake for anything else. They were a schoolyard treasure, the kind of snack you'd happily swap half your lunch for. Today, they're remembered as one of Smith's boldest experiments, gone too soon, but never forgotten. Mention them to anyone who grew up in the 70s or 80s, and you'll likely get the same response. Why on earth did they stop making those? Cadbury's Aztec Bar is one of those treats that feels almost mythical now. Launched in the 1960s and lasting into the 70s, it was Cadbury's answer to the Mars bar, but with its own unique twist. The bar combined chewy nougat and caramel wrapped in rich Cadbury milk chocolate, creating a taste that was indulgent but not too heavy. Many people who tried it swore it was superior to its rival, with a smoother texture and a more satisfying balance of sweetness. Kids loved its chunkiness, while adults appreciated that it felt like proper value for money. Yet, despite its fans, Aztec never quite held on against Mars, and by the late 70s, it quietly disappeared from shelves. Today, it lives on in memory as one of Cadbury's boldest creations, often mentioned in nostalgic conversations as the one that got away. For those who tasted it, Aztec wasn't just another bar. It was Cadbury at its most daring. Cheese footballs were the quirky little snack that brought fun as well as flavor. Small, round, and packed with a punch of cheesy taste, they looked like miniature footballs, which made them perfect for parties, Christmas gatherings, or simply showing off in your lunchbox. Their crispy shell gave way to a soft, tangy cheese filling that melted on your tongue, leaving you reaching straight back into the bowl for more. Kids loved them for their novelty, while adults enjoyed them with a pint or a glass of wine as a light nibble. They were one of those snacks that seemed to appear every festive season, alongside bowls of peanuts and sausage rolls, and for many families they became a holiday tradition. When they vanished, they left behind more than just their unique flavor. They took with them a little bit of the playful spirit of the 70s and 80s snacking. Today, they're remembered fondly as a treat that was as fun to look at as it was to eat. Rowntree's Bar 6 was the kind of chocolate bar that quietly built a cult following. Slim, neat, and divided into 6 squares, it had a wafer and chocolate combination that felt lighter than a Kit Kat, but more indulgent than a plain biscuit. The orange wrapper was instantly recognizable, and unwrapping it felt like opening something a little more special than your average sweet. For many kids, it was the perfect size for pocket money treats, while adults appreciated it as a little pick-me-up with a cup of tea. Bar 6 had a delicate balance: crisp wafer layers, smooth chocolate coating, and just enough sweetness to leave you satisfied without being overwhelming. It wasn't flashy, but that was its charm. When it disappeared from shelves, it left fans baffled as to why it was ever discontinued. Today, those who remember it still talk about it as a lost gem from Britain's golden age of chocolate bars. Toffos were the chewy little sweets that stuck not just to your teeth, but to your memory. Made by Macintosh, they came in colorful wrappers inside a neat roll, each piece offering a different toffee flavor, from classic plain to fruity twists and even mint. Opening a pack felt exciting because you never quite knew which flavor you'd pull out first, and kids often traded their favorites in the playground. They were tough enough to last a while if you sucked them, but most people couldn't resist chewing, even if it meant a quick trip to the dentist later. The distinctive rustle of the wrapper and the sweet smell that escaped as you unwrapped one are memories that still linger for many. Toffos weren't flashy or expensive, but they were reliable, tasty, and always welcome on a long car journey or tucked into a school bag. When they disappeared, they left a chewy hole in the world of sweets that no other toffee has quite managed to fill. Pacers were the chewy, striped sweets that stood out instantly on the shelf. With their distinctive green and white stripes, they looked fresh and different from anything else in the sweet aisle. Originally launched as a mint chew, they later expanded into fruity varieties, but the minty ones remain the most iconic. The texture was soft, yet firm, offering just the right resistance as you chewed, and the flavor had a cool, refreshing kick that lingered longer than most sweets of the era. For kids, Pacers were a playground favorite, brightly wrapped, easy to share, and fun to collect in your pocket. Many people remember buying them on the way to school or cinema, where the striped design became almost as memorable as the taste itself. When they disappeared, it left fans scratching their heads, wondering why such a unique sweet had to vanish. Even today, Pacers are spoken of with a mixture of fondness and frustration, as one of the true "why did they ever stop making that?" snacks of the 70s and 80s. Golden Wonder Ringos were one of the ultimate crisps of their time, instantly recognizable thanks to their fun ring shape. Light, crunchy, and easy to stack on your fingers before eating, they were a playground favorite and a must-have for lunchboxes. The flavors were bold and salty, giving them an addictive quality that made it hard to stop at just one bag. Kids loved the playful shape, turning them into edible jewelry, while adults enjoyed them as a simple snack with a pint down the pub. Unlike regular crisps, Ringos felt more fun, almost like a toy and a snack rolled into one. The bright packaging only added to their appeal, standing out in the shop shelves and begging to be picked up. When they quietly vanished, it was a real disappointment because no other crisp quite matched their crunch and charm. Today, Ringos live on in memory as one of those cheeky, playful snacks that brought just as much laughter as flavor. Cadbury's top deck was a chocolate bar that looked as good as it tasted. What made it unique was its two-layer design: smooth Cadbury milk chocolate on the bottom and a creamy white chocolate layer on top. The contrast wasn't just visual. The mix of flavors gave you the best of both worlds in a single bite. Kids loved the novelty of breaking it into squares and deciding whether to eat the white or milk part first, while adults appreciated its simple but satisfying balance. The bar had a cheerful, almost luxurious feel without being expensive, which made it a regular pick in lunchboxes and corner shops. Top Deck felt like something special yet accessible, the kind of bar you could always count on to brighten your day. Its disappearance left many wondering why Cadbury retired such a clever design, especially since no other mainstream bar has quite managed to replicate its charm. For those who grew up with it, Top Deck remains a sweet symbol of Cadbury's most creative era. The Texan Bar was famous for one thing above all else: its toughness. Advertised with the slogan, "A man's gotta chew what a man's gotta chew," it was a chewy nougat and caramel bar coated in milk chocolate that could last you the entire bus ride home from school. It wasn't just a sweet, it was a challenge. Kids would compete to see who could make theirs last the longest, while adults appreciated it as a satisfying treat that felt bigger and bolder than most chocolate bars. The nougat was firm, the caramel sticky, and the combination gave your jaw a real workout. But that was part of the appeal. Breaking through the layers felt like conquering something, and finishing a Texan bar always left you feeling victorious. Sadly, despite its cult following, it disappeared in the 1980s, leaving fans nostalgic for a snack that demanded patience and persistence. Today, it's remembered as one of the most unique bars of its time, tough, tasty, and truly unforgettable.